Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa, No Filler, a podcast all about, you guessed it, Aston Villa, the world's greatest football team. What a day it was yet again for the mighty Villa as we go up to fourth in the Premier League table, joint on points with Chelsea, one behind Man City, who are up in second, and just six off the leaders. Arsenal with an opportunity to reduce that deficit to 3 points next week, potentially at Villa Park in a dare we to dream of a title race. Why not dare to dream? Why not? I'm a believer, mate, as the world's number one once said. I was up at Wolves, hence why I'm doing this quite late. I've only just got back home from Aston all the way down to London. I went to Young Boys the other night, and I've obviously went to Wolves today. So what do you say about that? Well, I'll just quickly actually share screen here. I know those listening can't see this, but I'll describe it to you for to try and just make it as simple as possible. Well, I think this game was always going to be quite scrappy, right? It's a derby. It's a classic derby. There is no other team that Wolves are going to create this many problems for than Villa, because they're going to come into this game a little bit more amped up than they probably will be for, say, Crystal Palace at home last week. So I actually kind of suspected there were two things that were working against Villa today going into this game. One was that it's a derby, so it maybe will be scrappier than we like it to be. But two, also Rob Edwards, new manager at Wolves, will probably have a whole new approach that might just be something that catches you a bit cold, because maybe you're not really expecting what you're going to see, presented before you on the day. And so Wolves had a kind of three at the back that will then go into a back five. And I think what tends to happen when Villa play these back threes, and as you can see on the screen, is that I think sometimes in the start of games where we play against a back three, we can look a little bit lost. We can look a little bit like the other team have a bit more mobility and imagination and width, and Villa can look a little bit narrow, hemmed in, and just can't quite find their rhythm whatsoever. And then we look a little bit like we're under threat out in wide areas. And that happened against Manchester United last season at Old Trafford with that back three. It's happened against Crystal Palace multiple times with their back three. And today with Wolves, it kind of, first half it did cause us, I think, quite a few problems. Their physicality, I think, maybe them just being a bit fresher, having a new manager who they want to impress, us playing the Thursday night, going into today. Maybe it all just sort of played out in the first half. And that back three issue, I think, did cause us a few problems. And I think it was the Wolves right back / right winger. I can't remember his name, Chuck something. Anyway, he was bursting down the right wing and getting in behind Luca Dean a couple of times. And Jurgen Strand-Larsen's disallowed goal, John Arias standing right by Emi Martinez, that came from him getting in behind and whipping one across, and Strand-Larsen finishing it. But, obviously it was disallowed. First half as well, we got away with it again. Another opportunity that came down, from the right-hand side. A good save from Emi Martinez down to his left. And then again, a corner comes in and another header. I think it was from Mosquera. Absolutely incredible save from Emi Martinez. I was in the stadium. Obviously, I was right at the front row. Sometimes I like to choose to sit on the front row in the Trinity to sort of see it from how coaches might see it, from sitting here where the Unai is and hear what managers are saying. And just see see the pace and physicality of the game right up close. That's where you get a newfound appreciation, I think, for some of the skills of these players. Seeing Emi Martinez's save right up close, it was just extraordinary. He had a fantastic game, Emi Martinez. He pulled off another big save again in the second half, going down to his left. And, just again, his authority, his shot stopping, all of it. It was I think he was arguably our man of the match, which probably says it all about how the game really went. So I think that sort of back three with the two sort of, fullbacks bombing on, the three centre-backs all pulling out wide and opening gaps and passing lanes that, gave them just sort of gave them a little bit more width and made Villa look a little bit too narrow. I think that was probably our issue in the first half. Not to say that I felt like Villa were, getting overrun or anything, but there were a couple of moments in the first half where it looked a little bit hairy, is how I would say it. So Uh, I think what was needed was that I think Villa needed to get a bit closer to Andre. I think Andre looks to me like a player who shouldn't be playing for somebody who's bottom of the league in the Premier League. He looked like a very, very good metronomic centre CDM, coming deep, getting the ball, retaining it well, always asking for it. He was good and physical, winning a lot of tackles. And I think that he and Andre and the centre backs also, they were all really getting around Morgan Rogers in that first half. So clearly Rob Edwards has studied Aston Villa heavily. He's a former Villa player. I think he might be a Villa fan from what I've read before. So clearly he's watched a lot of Aston Villa, when he left Luton in his time at Middlesbrough. He's kept a close eye on us, and it felt like he was very well prepared for what Aston Villa's strengths were. And I could hear him on the sideline screaming at Jorgen Strand Larsen over and over, get back on to Tielemans. And it felt like Tielemans was a bit off his game, particularly in the first half, I thought. Tielemans' passing is normally so fantastic. I bet if you look at the stats, his pass completion was actually quite a bit lower than it normally is. Just because it felt like Wolves were doing a good job and just jumping on him, hassling him, just basically being physical and trying to throw Villa off their game, which I think in the first half they did fairly well, and they could well have gone in at 1-0 at half time. But second half, Aston Villa, I think we really just set our stall out, didn't we? I think we were a lot more physical. I think we were a lot more into the game. I think Ollie Watkins coming on and partnering Daniel Marlon, I think that kind of helped. And I think one player that, I would say for me, if I was to say who was an outfield man of the match, I think Ezri Konsa was excellent. But for me, I think it was John McGinn. McGinn and Cash down that right-hand side. Again, I was right up close to them, watching the two of them interacting together. I don't think there was one moment where Cash lost where the ball was. You could argue he was pulled by the Wolves player. I think it was Bellegarde. And then Wolves obviously got in and had a chance in the second half. But by and large, Cash and McGinn, I thought they were brilliant. I thought McGinn just physically, like it's so easy to underrate what a brilliant football player John McGinn is. I'm going to put a love heart right there around the man because I love him. Firstly, can we all give a big shout out to that tifo? It was what a fantastic recognition of what a player John McGinn has been for Aston Villa and continues to be and will be in future, hopefully when he's lifting trophies for us. Because I thought today, in a horrible, scrappy derby game, he was the guy who physically was just able to, it just doesn't overawe him, and he's the type of player who just drags you through tough games like that. And the way he uses his body, he's a phenomenal football player. I think he's just one of them that if you see him with your eyes, up close, and you see the way he just bashes players aside by using his hips in the right place, it's a form of genius to use your body in that way. There's so few players who could do it, and he knows it's one of his key assets. But it's also that he doesn't just use his body smartly, but he also is able to turn into the right space rather than just turning into trouble all the time. I just thought it was absolutely phenomenal watching him up close. It was the same again. I had a front row seat against Fulham last year, and hearing them Fulham players screaming because they just couldn't get the ball off him because he kept backing into them and holding onto it. It was just he's a phenomenal football player, and I thought he was just brilliant outfield today, and he got the assist for the goal. Now, what I would say about that right-hand side, while I thought Cash and McGinn played well, the truth is, though, that McGinn, he's a left footer, isn't he? And by and large, he's not really going to get to the byline. There were one or two moments he got to the byline, cut it back, and, we had a chance. But he tends to cut back onto his left, and Cash likewise cuts back onto his left, and Cash will play it back to a CDM, and McGinn will kind of do something similar like with it. He'll cut back onto his left and pass it to a player, hanging out on the edge of the area. And it worked. Boubacar Kamara scored an absolute screamer. But there were moments where I was watching that and I thought, do you know what? It'd be good to just have a Bailey from the 23-24 season when he was so sharp and skillful. And, he could go one way cutting on his left and send a crossing, or he could send a player, the wrong way and get to the byline and cut it back, and Watkins would be there for a goal, It's just something that I think when just watching that at close quarters, I thought, do you know what? Just having a player who maybe gets to the byline on one or two more occasions. Maybe just has a little bit. He's a dribbler, just having a bit more of a dribbler. It's kind of what we're trying to get Gesson to be. I think Gesson's going to take time to get there. I'm not 100% convinced Gesson is a touchline player, really. I think he's more of a central area player. But, that was something that I think we kind of could have done with at times during the game. But that said, like I said, I thought McGinn was just physically on the ball as well. Fantastic. And what a goal it was from Boubacar Kamara. What a goal that was. It was, I was jumping everywhere, absolutely all over the place, straight into the top corner. And it's interesting, Jacob Tanswell wrote a really good piece recently about, Villa's XG and how Villa are scoring so many goals from outside the area. Look, I think at some point there's an argument you could make and say that those goals will stop flying in, and maybe we're riding our luck a little bit by not getting enough goals in the area. And that, there's probably a case to be made for that. But at the same time, like, one issue that Villa have had in previous seasons is that when we go up against a team that just sets out in a low block, 5-4-1 or 5-5, no one up front. Sometimes Villa, we turn into international version of Spain at times. Like, Spain are fantastic, but sometimes they become a bit of a parody of themselves, where it's just pass. And it's possession, but it's inert possession. It's not actually doing anything. And there have been occasions in the past, Sheffield United at home when we drew 1-1 with them, Ipswich last season. Sometimes there are Brentford this season away, games where they sit back and we just pass, and it just doesn't go anywhere. And maybe one way around that, and maybe something Unai Emery has encouraged the team to do, and you would have to assume he's encouraged them to do it because they pay attention to what he says, is shoot on, when you've got the chance to do it from the edge of the area. And, I think it was Tim Krul, former Newcastle and Norwich goalkeeper, this week talking about wanting to go into coaching. And one thing he mentioned was that goalkeepers don't like shots from distance. It's the one that, can throw them off a bit. And maybe it was time to start taking a few more chances from the edge of the area. And it's paid off. It has. And, maybe these shots do just continue to fly in all season. It's a bit of a risk to think that it will, and to not, also have those chances created within the area. Because if you were to look at Villa's chance creation today within the area, I would argue that there's not much I can really remember. There wasn't really a lot going on in there. And, Rodgers, like I said, I think Rodgers, whilst he was effective, they were on top of him all game, really. They were hassling him. Marlon, I think, had one really good run, but again, physically, there was, it was quite difficult, I thought, at times for him. I think he looked a little bit more effective when he went back into that 10 role. I think Watkins came on. I think there were one or two occasions where he was like, there's good Ollie. There were one or two occasions where he did it on the ball too long. But, look, by and large, I think what I would say is Aston Villa's home form is absolutely incredible. And I think in the past, the Aston Villa of old that we've all grown up with, say in the year 2010, would have played a game like this and lost 1-0. That's what would have happened. Scrappy, pretty crap game, but somehow the opposition team just not one over the top, and it's a goal. I was there when Sunderland beat us 1-0 in the Martin O'Neill, during the good years, and a ball over the top. Michael Chopra scores, and we're all sitting there going, how the hell have we just lost 1-0 to Sunderland? And that's the sort of game today that would have been. But this is Unai Emery's Aston Villa. You always think we'll find a way. And sometimes, we ride our luck, but we've got the best goalkeeper in the world when he's in this kind of form. And that can bail you out. And, when the opposition team inevitably gets a chance. And you just have to assume that at some point we're going to create a chance. At some point we're going to have, all the pressure in the world. And I thought second half, I think, I thought we were by and large very, very dominant. And, I restricted them to not really many chances. There was one moment, I think it was the moment I mentioned earlier, actually, where Cash sort of lost track of the ball over his head. Ball across, and a great little piece of defending, tapping it away from Pau Torres to stop Jorgen Strand Larsen from scoring. So yeah, very foully, very niggly, very not a nice game to watch. Classic derby, but Aston Villa win when it's difficult. Leeds United away last week, Wolverhampton Wanderers today. These are the type of games where it's hard, it's horrible, it's nasty, and the Villa of old did not get results in those situations. The Villa of today get results in those situations. We don't just beat Man City at home; we beat Bournemouth at home. Two great results against two teams who are flying high, but then you go and get the results in the hard, horrible games where they're coming out to defend and foul you. It's the sign of a team that, quite frankly, deserves to be where they are in the table and should continue to believe that we can stay up there. Fantastic stuff. Just win after win now, isn't it? 11 wins in 13. Absolutely incredible stuff. Given the starts of the season we had, joint top of the Europa League table, all set up to go top 8 for that, and then just keep on going in the Premier League. We go on to Brighton on Wednesday, and Brighton are themselves in really good form. Really good win for them, 2-0 away at Nottingham Forest. But again, Brighton away, it's a place we seem to like to go, to be honest. And we've already beaten Hertzler's Brighton 3-0 away this calendar year back in April, I think it was. And then on hopefully this Wednesday we can go up there and cause them all kinds of problems again. December is going to be a tough month just because of the sheer volume of games. We've got Arsenal at home next week, and Brighton away, Arsenal at home. We've got Manchester United, you've got West Ham away, you've got Europe again away a day. Then we also have, Chelsea and Arsenal back-to-back away from home within 3 days of each other. That's going to be really, really tough. And we're not going to win all of them games. It's just not very likely. But if we can just get through that period, if we can, pick up a few wins here and there, if we can get a couple of really hard-fought draws where, we're not expected to, and just go into early January, then well in contention in that top 4, then the rest of the season, it's on. It's on. Something really special is on this season. So yeah, fantastic stuff. Had a great day. Got to meet a few good people. Got to meet Earl, AVFC Scout. Fantastic to meet you, mate. Lovely fella. I love everything you do as well. Check him out on Blue Sky and Twitter. Got to meet Dan Rowlinson and his dad as well. Great to see you, Dan. Claret and Blue. One of the pioneering Villa podcasts. Lovely guy. Tom, my mate Tom McGowan as well. Always great to see him. And Rosario, I think was your name, who I met in the stands as well. So awesome to meet you as well. Like I say, just fantastic meeting fellow Villa fans and people who like to follow along with this, this podcast, me rambling away about things. So, absolutely delighted to see Aston Villa win that game today and, make the Wolves fans cry like we always do. Right, good to get to some of the comments. Everything Villa, evening UTV. Great to see you, mate. Good on you. Black Catrillion, great to see you too, mate. Good to see you as always. UTV from Torquay says, John, good to see you, mate. Love Torquay. Good evening all, says Mark Huggins, good friend of the channel. Good to see you. Rachel Insoluz. Evening to you as well. Good friend of the channel. Matt C, good to see you, mate. I keep thinking of the EMF song from the 90s, but with the lyrics, you're unsustainable. Yeah, I mean, we are, you can't contain the mighty Villa. You cannot contain us. Michael Huggins says 3 points in the bag. That will do for me. Absolutely. Just one of them days where, win ugly. You just got to do it. You don't necessarily have to play like Barcelona. Just get the job done, and that's what we did. One thing I didn't mention, actually, that I probably should, no Harvey Elliott in the squad again. Interesting. Ross Barkley. I was looking at that. I literally saw it happen. I don't think the TV cameras caught it, but he was just sort of standing off the Wolves defender, and he turned very slightly, and you could see immediately that he tweaked his knee. So he turned awkwardly on his knee, and then from straight away he was limping. And I'm hoping it's not some sort of ligament damage he's done, because it didn't look good, that. Because he'd come on and done well, and he's been doing really, really well since he came back into the squad all the way back in September or October against Feyenoord. So wishing Ross really well. And Jadon Sancho. So I've spoken. I've sort of, I defended him, from some of the criticism I think we've seen. I think it's been a bit harsh, really. I think he's been generally, some games he's come on and look sharp. I think he did well enough against young boys, and if he gets a goal or an assist, we'll see what happens. But today, he came on in about the 86th, 85th minute, something like that, along with Lamar Bogard. Bogard was exceptional again. What a play. I thought Onana was brilliant when he came on as well. Seriously strong centre midfield Aston Villa have. But Sancho had the kind of performance that I think if I was sent on as a guest in Premier League football, that's what I would look like. As in, I'd rush everything because I'd be panicking. So I'd just belt the ball away because I'd be just thinking, oh my God, all these guys are so fast. I just got to get rid of this immediately. I'd get the ball and immediately 3 players would be on me because I'd be too slow to react and I'd just be physically outmuscled. And I would do pretty much nothing right. Weak into challenges, rushing clearances, therefore panicking. It's not the Villa way anymore under Unai Emery. In a 10-minute cameo, it was appalling. And I look, I don't want to make a thing of it, like, oh no, Sancho. It was just an appalling display. It just frankly was. And when he comes back into the team, maybe he'll play against Brighton, play against Arsenal next week. He's just got to do a lot better than that because he is better than that. And he's shown already with Villa, in patches that he can be better than that. So, yeah, he needs to definitely not repeat what I think that cameo was today. But I can only say what I see, really. Bogard, though, and Onana, fantastic. Bogard's a serious player now. Serious player. You got Bogard, Onana, Kamara, and Yuri Tielemans, plus John McGinn can go in there as well, and Ross Barkley. Is there a centre midfield in all of the Premier League that is as strong as that? There's not many. There ain't many. I'm not sure there's any. I don't think there's a team in the Premier League that wouldn't want that. The sheer depth of it and the sheer quality of it. And that is where I think this is where I think wider football podcasts and wider football pundits are sleeping on Aston Villa. Because not only do we have, Ezri Konsa, a fantastic centre-back, Emi Martinez in goal and all that, not only do we have a great squad, with some deficiency in some places, I think we need a striker to start scoring soon, don't we? And I think outright we could do with Gesson stepping up if he can. But that central midfield area, the sheer depth and quality of it is where I think Villa. I think it's probably why we are where we are. I think Pau Torres returning to the team is a massive part of that, and his ability to play out from the back is a humongous part of why Villa have been transformed. But I just think that centre midfield area is just so strong. It's like we just never really get overrun in there, or rarely do. And we'll always find a way to, do something from that central area that will lead us up the pitch and lead to a chance, a goal, or it basically means we can take control in most games. And that is why I think, by and large, a lot of pundits are sleeping on how good Villa actually are. Would be good if our striker starts scoring those soon. That I think, because I think there will come a point where if we had a striker who maybe was going to get a goal, it'd make a big difference. 1 in 19, I think it is now for Ollie. He still offers a lot, but the numbers have to start coming soon, don't they? James, we're good to see you, mate. Evening all UTV. Anyone for 3 points? Anyone for 3 points? I love it. Absolutely love it. The Wanky Wanderers. Somehow I'd never heard that one. Wolves to me have never really been because I'm from the opposite side of Birmingham. I've never really felt much like that big a thing for me. I think if you're from Stourbridge and Bromsgrove area and Black Country and all that, I think Wolves and West Brom are the big derbies. With where I am, it's more Birmingham City and even Coventry and bloody Man United. I've got to beat Man United, please God. Carl McClatchy, hey folks, good to see you, Carly. Matty, the Euro Unsustainable song would be played over a video of Villa crashing in 25-yard bangers. I love it. Why not? Keep it going. UTV to you, mate. Wolves played pretty well, in my opinion. They are still going down there. Yeah, they were decent enough. They made it half a Villa, very, very half a Villa in the first half. I think their formation, there's something about a back three and two wide fullbacks bombing on and shifting into a back five that Villa do struggle with sometimes, and it does make us look a very static team. And it is actually, thinking about Manchester United coming in mid-December with their back three and the fact that they're doing quite well on the road now, that is a sort of game that I look at and think, that could be a tricky one. We'll see. Got to beat them, please. The Cozy Alley, best Villa channel. Not pretty win, but we get the job done. Thank you so much, mate. That's incredibly kind of you to say. Love to hear that. Thank you so much. With so many great Villa channels that are out there, that's incredibly kind of you to say. Please like, please subscribe, and please follow if you're on Spotify, Apple. 5-star reviews. I know I keep saying it, but they always help. Mark Huggins, how many clean sheets so far? God, it's quite a lot, isn't it? Think about this time last year. What were Villa constantly doing? Conceding all the time. And a lot of it came from passing out from the back. A lot of mistakes we were making in that regard. This season, we just seem to concede far fewer goals than we did this time last year. And to be fair, that has been the case, I would say, this calendar year. Since about January, since Tyrone Mings came into the team, think back to that period then, you've got when we were beating Brighton 3-0, Southampton 3-0, Bournemouth 1-0, Brentford 1-0, all of that towards the tail end of last season, and it's continued into this season. We don't really seem to concede many goals at all, and great. It's great stuff. Love it. McGinn gets man of the match for me. Yeah, I think I'd give it to Emi Martinez just because he pulled off 2 or 3 absolutely phenomenal saves. But I would say John McGinn as the outfield player was the man of the match for me. Not sure, but 11 goals allowed in 12 games. I think, is that it? Is that all we conceded? Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Gary Howlett, good to see you, mate. Hi, Frankie. We did find a way, but it shouldn't have been that hard. Yeah, I think where I'd give the leeway is that we obviously played in midweek, so that does have an impact, but also it's a derby, and you're playing against a team with a new manager, and he's a good coach. He knows Aston Villa through and through. I'm sure he does because he watches us all the time. So I think you can give a bit of leeway to just winning that one a bit uglier than we probably, would have wanted to. So look, match of the day is going to be coming on. So I am going to be, I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon. But just read out a couple more. Kevin Jeans, good to see you, mate. Watkins and Marlon together is the way forward. It separates defenders. We can press harass so much better. Yeah, I think they looked. I think it worked a bit better with the two of them on for sure. I just think Watkins he's just got a little bit more of that. He's a little bit more of a striker. I think Marlon is a striker. He's a very effective striker, but he's also, I think that 10 area suits him. I think maybe just being a bit deeper than the number 9 and just finding the space and working with the right midfielder or, the player or the right winger, sorry. I think that seems to be where I think we see him at his best. But yeah, it's just fantastic that Marlon is in such great form. It really, really is. Poor game, but we won, says AVFC Flyboat. Yep. Doesn't matter how you win, just as long as you win them. As we've been pants since 96. Time to change for the boys from Aston coming. Absolutely. Not winning anything since 1996 for a club of our size is an absolute disgrace, really. And we've been, there's been too many bad times since then. Been a couple of good times, but too many bad times. We're in the golden era. We are in the golden days. And all it needs now is a trophy. And once that one trophy comes, more will come. More will come. Kevin Jeans, it's in the stars. Ollie will net against Arsenal. It'd be a very Ollie thing to do. He always scores against the big teams, doesn't he? I think Man United are the only big team he never scores against, but all the others always scores against them. It'd be very, very Ollie to do that. Very, very Ollie. There are tomorrow's problems, really, as the difficult December fixtures now upon us. Our issues we have need to be sorted from now, but enjoy today for now. Yep, absolutely agree with you there, Rachel. Mark Huggins, Emery sets standards which the fans now expect. We must always be respectful, but there is a level the players must reach. Yeah, absolutely, and we can, we can keep reaching them. Hit the like buttons, Michael, and please hit the likes of Black Country Village. Yes, please do. Please hit them likes. Please subscribe. Please comment. And if you're watching later, comment, and I'll get back to them. There's comments from last week that I need to get back to as well, so I will do that. Rob Hatton, interested to see how Alabi operates in January. Centre half and centre forward needed, but easier said than done. Yes, I think that's true. Villa's defence has been excellent, but we're risking it a bit with Tyrone Mings been out until the new year, and we don't know how long that will be into the new year. And Pau Torres, I mean, I don't think we want Pau Torres playing endless games throughout December. We need to sort of find a way to balance the minutes up for him, I think, because he's such a crucial player for us. And if we can find games where we can just rest him, perfect, or play 60 minutes instead of 90. Him playing 90 minutes over and over again throughout December without a proper left centre-back as the backup is a bit of a concern, I think, for me. So certainly, if we can get a centre-back in, I know we've got Lindelof there, but he's more of a right centre-back. There's no specialist LCB. That is the one concern for me. That is the thing for me that would keep me up at night if I was Unai Emery, where I think, yes, we need the striker to start scoring. Yes, we need the right midfield area to be a bit more creative, I would say. But that left centre-back is the one where I think if we get an injury there, that's where I think it's like we're just losing such a big element of our team that it is kind of irreplaceable. But, we coped with it last season when Pau and Tyrone Mings were out and Boubacar Kamara went to left centre-back for a couple of games. We were fortunate Mings came back a lot sooner than was anticipated. So hopefully we can ride it out, basically. But, yeah, I think that's what we need to see. And a striker, I'd love to see another. That's certainly an area we need to start thinking about for sure, I think. Love Watkins. I'm chairman of his fan club. Have been for years. Love him. But his striker needs to score, doesn't he? And he's not doing that right now. Marlon just off Watkins, good combination. Yep, agree with that. We'll be last to match today, and they'll only show the top three in the table. Yeah. I think what I'll do is if Villa ever somehow find ourselves top of the league, I'll do it. I'll do one of the big broadcasters has shown the Premier League table, and I'll do it from 2nd to 20th and just cut off number 1. So we're like, here's the top 2 to 20, and then there's no top of the league because Aston Villa seemingly, it's the big 6, and old Villa are in the top 6 all the time. Oh well, it's the big 3 now, isn't it? Liverpool are in 12th, so let's show the league table down to 12. It's just, yeah. I mean, I'm happy enough for Villa to be, just quietly going about our business and doing what needs to be done, and having all the, so-called experts obsessing about Arne Slot's Liverpool and Thomas Frank at Spurs and whatever else. I'll put it like this: Aston Villa have finished above Chelsea 2 out of the last 3 seasons. We finished above Tottenham 3 years in a row. Finished above Man United 2 years in a row. 7th, 4th, 6th, Champions League quarterfinals, Conference League semi-finals, running in the Europa League, top 4 right now. Absolutely insanely brilliant home form, insanely brilliant football players who are constantly overlooked. Aston Villa are an absolutely fantastic football team, and we are living through a great period. Just got to go win that trophy, haven't we? Right, well, I am going to call it a day there, I think. 33 minutes there. Not much more you can really say about the Wolves. I'll be on after Brighton, be on after the Arsenal as well next week. Big old time in it, a good time and a brilliant win. Big 3 points. Fair play to Boubacar Kamara. What an achievement for John McGinn to have all them games. There's about an amazing tifo, amazing fan base. What a club. Emi Martinez, absolutely world's number 1 today. All of it. And we put the Wolves back in their place. Thank you, everybody, for listening and following along. Please like, please subscribe. But until next time, up the mighty Villa.